Okay, you're going to take out your pinch pot that yesterday we added a foot to. So this is the foot that I started yesterday in your class. And again, I'm going to just kind of review with you guys what the different stages of clay are. The clay that you have in front of you now, your project, you'll notice that it's pretty sturdy, and because some of the water has evaporated off of it. Plastic clay has 25 to 35% water in it, and you can mold and shape clay that is plastic. But this clay has about 10 to 15% water in it. It's called the leather hard stage, and it's actually the strongest stage that unfired clay is because it doesn't lose its shape. It's dry enough that you can sort of like toss it around, and you're not going to do a whole lot of damage because it's good and strong. It's not going to collapse on you, but it is firm enough that if you tried to change the shape of it, you would end up cracking it. So that's the only thing you can't do with the leather hard stage, is to change the shape of it. Now, you're going to finish smoothing it. So today what I want you to do is I want you to work on smoothing your piece. And one of the things I want you to notice is that it's easier to push the clay around with a dry finger. So I can really do quite a bit of smoothing, just like this with my finger. You'll hear me talk about your finger is your best tool in ceramics. You can do just about everything with your hands. That's the wonderful thing about working with clay. But tools are just extensions of your hand when your hand isn't quite good enough. Every once in a while you're going to find a big hole. This one would be a little hard to smooth. If you've got an area that you're having trouble smoothing, you can add a little piece of clay. So take a little piece of plastic clay like this, and you're going to take your serrated rib, that's that jagged rib that we scored with, and scrape up the surface like so. And then you can just take that soft clay and smush it into there and smooth it out into your piece. And that way you can smooth, say you have a big dent or a big gap that you need to fill. You can fill it just by doing that. Just keep in mind it's a good idea to score or scrape up the clay with your serrated rib before you add clay to it. Now you can also use a little bit of water. So I'm going to dip my finger in water to do some smoothing. But what I want you to notice when you dip your finger in water to smooth is it makes it really super slimy. And you can't really push the clay like you can with a dry finger, but it is kind of nice to do your final smoothing with water because it really makes for a nice smooth surface. Okay, like so. However, I want you to recognize that when you smooth with water, you're taking and you're adding water back into the clay, which ultimately could make it softer. So if you get really carried away with smoothing with water, you can actually push it back into the plastic range and it will start to collapse on you. Okay, now I want to talk to you about your rim because you may want to address your rim today if you get to it. First thing is I'm going to show you what to do with this tool right here. This tool is called a fettling knife, and the word fettling, if you look it up in the dictionary, means to carve like you would carve wood with a knife. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that fettling knife, and just like I'm doing a wood carving, I can carve off a little bit of clay if I've got some really big high spots. And I can even out the rim. But I want to show you a little trick that if you have a good surface to do this on, you can do it. You can take and put a little water on your table. I'm going to turn my pot upside down and I'm just going to swirl it on the table. Now this is going to make a bit of a mess, so make sure if you do this, you clean it up, and you might have to wipe down your surface a couple of times to get all the clay off. Now the trick to doing this is don't stop. If you stop, it's going to stick to the table. So just when you're done, pick it up and turn it over. And it can make for a nice flat even rim that then I'm just going to go in and clean up that edge with my finger. So you can do that with the rim. You can also do that with the base to get your base nice and flat. Okay, so that's just another thing that you can do as final touches to making your piece nice and smooth.